saw the Sad and Snow trailer, like I believe the most of us, and the first feeling that I couldn't really shake off was actual disappointment. Hear me out here, okay? This is something I already shared in my short not so long ago, but because of that, I actually decided to take a step back and do a little bit more research instead of just saying, yeah, no, I don't like it, and moving on. I wanted to actually understand why the character designs presented in the trailer did not really appeal to me, or to be more specific, why I had such a hard time recognizing some of those inspirations behind them. Maybe at the end of this, I will just still feel the same. Maybe I will still think they don't work for me, or maybe, just maybe, there's a lot of potential here that simply needs more context. From the first look, Snezhnaya seems to be heavily inspired by Slavic culture, especially with a lot of Russian-coded references. But Slavic culture is not one singular thing. For example, I am Polish, so my perspective comes from a different part of the Slavic world. It comes from where I grew up around, from stories passed down by my grandparents, from folklore, visual culture, and also from my own expectations as someone who simply wanted this region to feel special. Because I know how special Slavic culture can be. So in this video, I want to go through some of the character designs we saw in the trailer, talk about what they may have been inspired by, where I think those inspirations worked, where they did not work for me or were not presented clearly enough, and what I personally wish had been pushed further. And please do keep in mind, I'm not speaking for every Slavic person. Okay, I think that's obvious, but this is just my perspective as a Slavic woman from Poland who also actually likes to talk about character design from time to time. And after 6 years, I really wanted Snezhnaya to feel magical. Good morning, my little starlights. It's yours truly, Luminara here. Grab your tea or coffee and let us get started, starlights. We are starting with Vodyanitsa. This was actually one of the characters I had a really hard time understanding at first. When I saw her in the trailer, my first thought wasn't, oh yeah, this is clearly a Slavic-inspired character. It was more like, yeah, she's pretty and she is definitely water-themed, but what exactly am I looking at here? You see, her name is a direct reference to Vodyanitsa, or Vodnica, described as a beautiful water maiden, which actually fits because she's pretty, and sometimes with green, blonde, or dark hair depending on the tradition, and used as another name for rusałka in Polish. And with that context of her being the prima soprano, that could be a great reference to the dangerous side of those water spirits, but more of that just in a minute, okay? Her hair shape works for me because it has the soft, wave-like form that just definitely reminds you of water, right? And the flowers in her hair also help because they connect her back to the nature and resemble the flower crown which rusałki and Vodyanitsa are associated with. Maybe I would like the color of the hair to be a little bit more deep green, that is bluish kind of green, but regardless of the color, okay? Actually, a fun fact. Legend says that rusałki's hair must remain wet because if their hair dries out, they will die. However, it's not like a universal trait of every Vodyanitsa tradition. I just thought it would be really cool to incorporate it to the design sample. But anyway, I also really like how they portrayed her eyes because rusałki are often connected to girls who died, especially drowned girls coming out of the water. And her eyes actually give me that feeling. This is a great detail and I really, really like that. But I actually have kind of a problem with the whole design. Vodyanitsa are more connected to forest lakes, ponds, wells, and only commonly less with seas. But here, Vodyanitsa has pearls, a clean white outfit that with the silhouette honestly reminds me a lot of Columbina's outfit, a lot of turquoise blues, and this very elegant type of energy. And while this is pretty, it pushes her more toward a mermaid princess than something rooted in Slavic water folklore. I even saw a lot of comments saying that they love the mermaid princess, but like I said, this is not the vibe that Slavic folklore gives me. Slavic folklore in a lot of cases is very dark, very eerie, very mortality-centered. So maybe if the outfit stayed white and clean but had some looking almost like a lake dirt, or if it was slightly torn, or looked more wet, it would connect her to the inspiration much more. I know she has a green underlayer and I do like the idea, but I'm also not the biggest fan of the cutout of the dress because it makes her legs so enormously long that it starts looking goofy as heck. And it's not giving the kind of fan service I would expect from Vodyanitsa type of character. I will talk about this a little bit later. You know, rusałki, at least from where I grew up hearing and reading about, were not simple, elegant ladies. They were often very youthful, full of energy, laughing, singing, dancing, luring young men closer to water only for them to realize that something was wrong, often too late, unfortunately. And funnily enough, With this character, it was actually a perfect opportunity to make her more fanservice-y in a way that would make sense. Because Rusauki were often depicted as a beautiful young women with loose, wet hair, with sheer white dresses, sometimes even naked. No, I'm not saying that she should be naked, obviously, but some see-through fabric, more skin, bare feet, something more wet-looking and more earthy could actually support the inspiration. Especially because Genshin has been leaning more into fan service lately anyway, and here it would actually have a reason. If they wanted her to feel like a water maiden, she could feel more wet, more earthy, more youthful, more connected to lakes and nature. Yes, she looks pretty young, but she doesn't have this youthful energy that you would see in Vodyanitsa or Rusauki. Something that looks enchanting at first, but dangerous when you decide to come closer. So, to finish it up, I believe that inspiration is there, okay? But I had to dig for it. And as a Slavic person, it wasn't something that I saw at the first glance. And for a character whose name points so clearly to Vodyanitsa, I wish the design was less ocean mermaid princess and more youthful freshwater spirit. Next up, we have Odette, and I think this is one of the characters where everyone understood the inspiration, at least much faster than with Vodyanitsa. She's a ballerina! Her name is Odette! Obviously, this is a very clear reference to the Swan Lake composed by Tchaikovsky, and as a Russian cultural reference, ballet indeed makes sense, as it is a symbol of national pride. What is interesting about the Swan Lake is that Odette and Odile, the White Swan and the Black Swan, are often performed by the same ballerina. With this from the start, you already have this beautiful opportunity to show duality for the character. You know, the innocent white swan and the darker, more deceptive black swan. And this concept works really, really well with Genshin's Odette because from what we saw and from the description, this is not only the ballerina. She's also connected to the Fatui as more of an assassin type of character. You know, a perfect ballerina on stage but a threat when the curtain drops. Design-wise, she's there, but not quite. Her headpiece is probably the most obvious Swan Lake reference because it reminds me of the ornaments that ballerinas wear when performing Odette. A nice touch is that she has a few hard metal elements that are actually swan-shaped as well. I'm not sure if you realize. Her skirt also worked for me at first, but after seeing her in-game model, I really do not understand where whole volume went. Right now, it looks like a tutu-shaped skirt from Temu. Please don't kill me for that. I saw some people complaining that it is short, but to be honest, this is not my issue here. For a ballerina-inspired character, this wider, tutu-like shape being shorter actually makes sense. But there is such a big difference between her promotional image and in-game skirt model, and it makes me really sad. But if we're referencing Swan Lake this directly, I wanted to feel more swan, if you know what I mean. The reference is not subtle at all, so why being so safe with this in her design? What I mean is the white swan and black swan duality. I can see it in the light blue, almost white parts of her outfit, and then in the darker glove and darker layer under her skin. And actually, I just want to point that out. I really like the darker underskirt because it can reference both the black swan side, as we mentioned, and the fact that her Fatui identity is hidden under her stage persona. But again, it feels like they had this really, really good idea and then got scared to actually commit to it. Add those daggers she's supposed to use somewhere under her skirt or as a part of her ornaments on her head. Also, why the heck so much blue? Genshin has already so many blue characters and we're not even talking about the skins. And especially in Snezhnaya lineup, we are getting a lot of cool tones already. So instead of standing out as this captivating stage performer that she's supposed to be, Odette kind of starts blending into everything around her. I don't know if they just wanted to splash blue on her because blue equals cold and Snezhnaya is cold, but I think more contrast would help her a lot. Maybe, I don't know, darker hair? Or honestly just throw out some of those blues and let her lean more into this black and white motif. Of course, you knew I was going to talk about the shoes. I'm sorry. If they really want to keep the heels because, you know, Genshin, character design and walking in point shoes could look weird, give them into her the ultimate animation, or at least make them more ballet inspired. Give her ribbons, wrap them around her legs, use them to balance the design. Infinity Nikki actually released a ballerina inspired outfit, and I would argue the point shoes work there just fine. They would just need a different type of animation. Maybe that was a problem. Also, we have this one dark glove, right? Then give the opposite leg darker ribbons going higher up. You still keep this asymmetry, but now it feels more intentional and it leans into the white sun, black sun duality even more. Again, right now the dark elements are just kind of there. Odette has one of the most obvious concepts here. I really love the cultural reference. I like the ballet idea. I like the hidden assassin side, but for a Swan Lake-inspired Fatui ballerina, she is pretty, don't get me wrong. But kind of forgettable, don't you think? This design I actually do really like. So now we're going to talk about Alyosha. Alyosha is actually an affectionate nickname for Alexei, meaning something like defender or helper, which, based on the information of him being a winter hunter who goes into the snow again and again to bring food back home, fits him perfectly. And his name is also famously connected to
Alyosha Karamazov from Bratya Karamazovy by Fyodor Dostoevsky.
He is this very pure-hearted, compassionate character, someone deeply loved by others. Visually though, it just works. It works for me. I'm actually pretty mad that he is a 4-star. Give him this freaky 1-star more Koyo. He looks like someone who actually lives outside in the freezing environment in Snezhnaya is supposed to be. The warm boots, the gloves, the fur on his coat, the heavy hood, the rifle, the husky companion. Everything tells me immediately what kind of character he is supposed to be. I also want to specifically talk about the hood. To me, it looks owl-inspired, or at least a bird of prey inspired. I actually like this because owls are silent predators. They wait, they observe, they hunt with patience, and it fits the sniper or the winter hunter type of character very, very well. He's not another character where they just slap the blue on him because, well, Snezhnaya is cold. He actually looks prepared for the cold, and with this color theme, he looks like he can hide in the snow. Finally, and about the dog. Listen, in the trailer, I really thought that this was going to be a wolf for a moment. So talk about the fake advertising.
Huh?
I'm joking. Of course, I love huskies. I had husky when I was little. He was my best friend. I mean, the most unhinged you can imagine, but my friend. So the husky companion is an amazing idea because huskies are strongly connected to colder regions, sled dogs, Siberian landscapes, and survival in a harsh weather. There is also a possibility that Alyosha might be inspired by
Snezhnaya,
the Finnish sniper, also known as the White Death. There are some references that might point onto him, although I didn't find any official information about that, so take it with a grain of salt.
Snezhnaya
Used a Finnish variant of the Mossy Nugget rifle, fought in a brutal winter condition, and was known for patience, precision, and being almost impossible to spot in the snow. Funny enough, he also had a hunting dog named Kile. So with Alyosha having a rifle, a snowfield hunter theme, and a dog companion, there might be a very strong connection there, don't you think? And even outside of this inspiration, I think he also gives me this very specific wartime feeling of a young person being thrown into a very harsh reality way too early, like children who had to grow up fast, help their families provide food, and take on responsibilities that should never really belong to them. He is not overflowing with blues like the rest of the lineup. I can clearly see the theme, I can clearly understand who he's supposed to be, and after Vodyanitsa, where I had to dig for the inspiration in her design, and Odette, where I liked the concept but wanted just a tiny bit more, Alyosha feels more refreshing. He looks like he belongs in Snezhnaya. I can look at the character and say, yeah, he looks freaking cool. With Valeriy, we do not have that much to talk about compared to the previous characters, but I do think his design does its job, although he's following a very known male design type, which can be boring. His name is a common Russian and Ukrainian masculine name, connected to meanings like strong, brave, and healthy, and based on what we saw in the trailer, I mean, yeah, that fits him pretty well, because he seems to be protecting some kind of important political figure. From what I understand, he is a mayor in the Fatui, so basically a military officer, and yeah, visually I get it. He looks firm, steady, and battle-tested. Maybe I would like to see scars? He looks like he has a sharp intuition, like someone who works close to power, knows what he's doing, and senses danger very quickly, apparently. With his outfit, I can see a mix of references. I found some Imperial Russian officer elements, especially with the structured uniform, the gold details, and this more formal officer look. But he also has this heavier, colder, more practical side, closer to like a winter military coats and Soviet-looking references. I do like the bear motif. Bears are associated with strength, protection, and danger, and Valeriy, even in these short moments, looks very intimidating and super focused on his goal. He is broad, he is dark, armored, has some fur, and has this huge cape that actually looks like it could keep someone warm. Thank you. Finally, I got the cape! I also want to point this out because it will matter later. Valeriy seems to be a male character who spends time indoors as well, around important people, like in the trailer, maybe as a bodyguard, and yet he's fully clothed. He even has armor. He has a fur. And his outfit looks like it is actually here to keep him warm and practical for a cold region. With Vodyanitsa and Odette, we can say, okay, they're performers. That is why their outfits are more revealing. Fine. But keep Valeriy in mind because later we will see that this logic doesn't apply equally to everyone. Also, I think all the Capitano fans are happy with him being one of the characters from the roster. Just admit that. Like, okay, maybe we lost Capitano, but at least we got this. I mean, we will see in the story, but right now he does not seem to be Capitano level because Capitano has this specific charm that is hard to replicate. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But Valeriy definitely has filled a bit that hole that Capitano left. So yeah, Valeriy is not the most complicated design here. For some people, he might even look a little bit boring. Or me, for example, but he looks strong, protective, and most importantly, he looks like he belongs in Snezhnaya. Look, I know this might be strictly a personal preference thing, and if you love her design, more love to you. Really. But to me, Danica is atrocious. This is probably my least favorite design from the whole lineup. Her name, though, is actually very pretty. Danica is a Serbian-Croatian name also used in Slovakia and Macedonia, meaning morning star or Venus. In mythology, on the other hand, Danica was a personification of the morning star, and it is so pretty. But design-wise, I just don't understand what is happening. She definitely has some maid feels to her, and, you know, I can see the part of the idea. Classic maid uniform mixed with some punk or alternative aesthetic, that could be actually interesting, especially that when she comes in, she's literally throwing people around, so she seems like she is ready to use violence when the situation needs it. And her top half actually sells that. I mean, she has long sleeves, gloves, something corset-like, the collar covering part of her face, and she looks intimidating. When I saw her top half, I was like, hell yeah, she is interesting. But then the camera zooms out, and I was like, what the fuck are we doing here? She suddenly looks like she is working a day shift as a maid and has a pole dance practice at night. Listen, my issue is not that all fan service is bad. Do not label me as a misogynistic person, okay? But make it make sense. With Lauma, for example, although she has a very uncovered design, we have to admit that, her inspiration and elegance and the way she acts balances that. With Vodyanitsa, as I mentioned, a more revealing outfit could actually support the Rusałka inspiration. With Danica, I just don't see the reason. I was thinking maybe the short dress is for the movement, okay? Maybe she needs to fight, so she needs 3 legs. Okay, fine. But then, why the thigh straps? Why the dress is so wide? How it is so wide? Why does the outfit stop making sense? Exactly where it should support her role. Why is she trying to flush me? It just undermines everything that happens on top. I'm sorry. And the annoying part is that I actually like some elements, okay? I like the black and white contrast. I like the bluish green accent, even though, yeah, again, another cool tone character. I also like that they maybe wanted to make her more punk, more alternative looking. That is cool. Genshin, for example, already did Maid Warrior quite well. With Noelle. Did we forget about Noelle? And they nailed it. With Danica, it looks like 2 completely different teams work on this design and they never communicated with each other. Her design takes away from her seriousness, her role, and the intimidating vibes she's trying to sell us in the trailer. If you like her, genuinely let me know what you like about her. Because maybe I'm missing something, okay? I'm not saying no, maybe I'm missing something. Right now, though, I think this is the weakest design in the lineup. Not because she has fan service, but because the fan service feels like a cheap-ass strategy for this specific character concept. Okay, so this is where we're going to end part 1 of this character design review from a Slavic person's perspective. We have like 9 characters overall as of right now, and I really do not want to make this a speedrun of, oh yeah, this one is pretty, this one is ugly, this one doesn't make sense, this one does. I want to actually give each character its own space and talk about what might have inspired them, what worked for me, what did not work for me, and where I feel the concept could have been pushed a little bit more. Mind you, I did some character design in the past, but I wasn't a professional. I'm doing this because I actually want to learn more about the character design and doing research, looking for references, noticing patterns, and trying to understand why some designs work and don't work for me helps me a ton. If you noticed any inconsistencies, if you found more references, or if you want to add anything to the information I talked about, please put it down in the comments. I would genuinely love to hear more about these characters, especially because Slavic culture is not one singular thing, and I know that there are probably details that I missed or interpreted differently than someone from another Slavic country would. Also, I really hope I didn't butcher any names or words from other languages. Listen, I did my best, okay? And although many of these languages come from one family, there are still differences, so I am so sorry if I made mistakes. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking around. And if you like the video and idea behind it, like, share, subscribe, comment, hype me up, or do whatever you want to support your little moth. And I will see you in part 2. For now, stay cozy, stay shiny, and I love you so very much, Starlights. Bye.